Hey, this is JC and welcome to Small Brick City, where we want to help you build a Lego city regardless of the space you have. In today's video, I'm going to do something different, but I think a lot of you might find it useful. What you see in front of you is my Angel of Mercy Medical Center MOC. It's a one-story medical center which includes a clinic, a pharmacy, as well as an operating theater. It's built on a 16 by 32 stud base plate, single story as you can see, and if you'd like to check out the video review of this MOC, you can check it out in the video link in the card above or the description below. A shout out to SSI Studios who wanted me to build a 3-story hospital. Now, I don't have space in my Lego city for that, and I don't really want to commit so much space just for a hospital. That's why I built this particular medical center. However, I think I could probably make this a 2-story building. After all, we can give it more functionality, and I can also have a patient recovery room. So I think 2 stories will be good for this. I might do 3 in future, but for now, I'm going to make this a 2-story building. And that's really the focus of this particular video. How do you take a Lego modular building and add a second floor with staircase access? A lot of people do find it hard to figure out the position of stairs and how to lead it up towards the top of the first level, and then subsequently making the floor of the second level so everything lines up. That is, the stairwell or the hole in the second level lines up with the access from the top of the stairs so that it works in relation to the second story. What that means is, if I were to take off the roof and were to look in the inside of this particular medical center, I have to figure out where to put the stairs so that it can lead up to the second floor. Now, many people who build modular buildings often find building the second floor with the staircase access a bit challenging. So hopefully this video will give you some insight and will help you figure out how you can build your second floor for your modular building by figuring out the staircase access, the stairwell, and the floor above. And subsequently, of course, building the rest of the second floor in terms of the structure so that you can fit the roof on top. So let's get started. I will be presenting this video in the style of my series of building a MOC from start to finish. I think a lot of people have positive things to say about that particular series and they find it a very useful learning tool, and that's why I'm going to be doing it here. And I really haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to add the second floor and the staircase. I do have an idea, so I'll be figuring it out as I go along, and I'll be pointing out my building process and rationale for doing several things. So what I first need to do is figure out where I'm going to put the staircase. So I think it's very obvious in the case of this particular modular building. What I have is the reception and pharmacy over here, the operating theater here, and the doctor's consultation room here. So it makes perfect sense for the staircase to be in the lobby area. Now you might notice I have a toilet over here and a sink. Those will have to go, and those will actually move to the second floor. Originally, I didn't even have this in my toilet, but many subscribers felt it was very important for the medical center to have the toilet, so I added it in. But now I can actually move it upstairs, so this entire area will be available to me to put in a staircase just like that. And this is a prefabricated Lego piece. I'm going to put it in somewhere here. I will have to break up some of these walls because I did build this particular toilet wall into the walls, because you always want to build internal walls with your exterior walls for maximum stability. So I will have to kind of demolish this part over here in order to set this in. I will also have to take out the tiles, probably raise this up by maybe 2 bricks, and also put a plate so that I can place this in line with the floor so that the top of the staircase will be more or less level with the top of this first floor here. And to secure this part of the staircase to the wall, I'm going to use an inverted 2x2 white sloped brick. So that's built into the wall, it extends out. I might put an additional plate as well so that it rests on this particular lip of the staircase and that inverted brick. So that will form kind of the landing, just a small landing. It doesn't have to be too big. What I have to do is ensure there's enough space so that minifigs can come around this pharmacy counter over here, not trip on the stairs, and also be able to access the doctor's consultation room over here. So anytime you build a staircase for your modular building, I would say try to fit it against a wall. Now you don't have to build it into the wall. That's one technique I do if I want to save space, but in this case I do not have to. And if you have enough space, all you want to do is really build it against the wall. This ensures that you maximize space. You don't really have to worry about minifigs knocking into the staircase. Of course, if you have a really big building, then you can have it right in the middle and it makes no difference. But generally, I do like to put these staircases near the wall and build it up from there. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get the parts, demolish this, and start building up the staircase. So this is what I have so far. What I've done is to take everything out, and let me show you how I built the staircase. So this is the original staircase. In order to add an extra step, I put a 1x2 plate because that's needed just to make the height right. I took a reverse slope brick here, put that here, and took a 1x4 plate to create an additional step. Now to create the right height, and also notice there's a slope here. Anytime you have a reverse slope brick and you want to place it onto a plate, you do need to put an extra layer of plate here if you intend to tile the floor. If not, the tile would not be able to fit in. So I had to raise it up by 2 plates anyway. So what I did was I took a 1x2 plate and a 2x3 plate, because later on I can put an extra plate here, for example, just like this. So that creates the lower step. I can even raise it up. In fact, I'll raise it up by 1 later on, but I can do that later. But the whole idea is to get the level right, and you want the proportions between each step to be equal if you can. And then I place this white reverse slope brick. That's a 2x2 that is built into the interior wall of the building, and everything is placed on just like that. So that's pretty much secure, and that's where my staircase will be. It is a bit of a tight fit. I had to change the length of my counter by 1 stud, and that's just so that minifigs can pass through. It is a tight squeeze, but I think it's still manageable. Now the area below here, technically I could put a toilet, but I think it's just going to be so hard to see, and I think I will have room upstairs, so I can put maybe a vending machine or a water cooler or something, plus some more seats for waiting. So this can be a good waiting area. So this is more or less the exact position. Now that I don't have the toilets here, I can actually put more windows to give a bit more light. So what I'm going to do now is to build this up and then see how I can tile this area here so it's as close to the top of the wall as possible. So let me show you what I've done over here before I tile it up completely. So what I did was to add plates to the top of the stairs to lock them to the wall, and that's also to raise it up to the right height. So let me just pull this off so that you can see, because this is a 2x2 plate, and I've got another 2x2 plate here. So originally I did show you that I placed the stairs onto basically that reverse sloped brick, but remember there's this extra lip from the stairs, so to make that the same height I put in this 1x2 plate. Now, but I want to raise it up all the way so that's the same height as the brick. Now to do that, and also to fill up the space so that we have a small landing for the staircase, that's why I placed this particular 2x2 plate, and I placed one more to raise it up to the right height. That's why when I place this 1x6 brick in, now everything is nice and flush. Now I do have to add one more layer of plate and one more layer of tile so that it's flush with the rest of the walls, but I'm using this 2x4 plate here so that we've got that landing. If I didn't, for example, if I didn't put that 2x4 plate and I only placed the 2x2 plate followed by, let's say, a plate like that and then the tiling, it looks really weird. Maybe you could put one more 1x4 black plate here, but then it looks like it's just going directly into the wall. It does seem a bit odd. So you want to create a tiny landing at least. So that's why this plate goes here. You can see now that's flush. I can now take this 1x6 plate, put it here. Now everything is flush, and I can now tile everything by putting this like that. And all I need is a 1x4 tile over here in white, and I can cover that up just like that. So now we've got everything nice and flush, and there's a little landing just to get to the second floor. So that's basically how you build the stairs in. Notice I'm not worrying about the second floor, at least for this particular mock, because I've already built this area over here. I have to actually work the second floor around the first floor. If you're building a mock from scratch, you can of course determine where you want to put your staircase and then build your rooms around the position of the staircase. But in this case, because I'm doing a modification or a remock, I'm really adding in the stairs to the most logical position in the building, and therefore I have to set that first, and then I have to work my second floor in relation to this particular staircase. So that's basically the first part. Now we have to figure out how to build this second floor, and this is what you need to do. So the first thing you need to do is to have a bunch of base plates that you can use to build up the floor. So I've got a couple of plates over here, and here's the advantage of building using even number of studs when you build your mock. In this case, I built it with 16 minus 4, so that's 12. So that's 12 studs across, and that makes it very easy because if you have plates which are 12 studs across, that fits perfectly. You do not need to use a lot of small plates to create the entire base plate, or rather, if there was an even number, you would then have to add another 1 by something plate to fill up that 1 stud space. So always work with even numbers if you can. It does make your life a bit easier. So in this case, what I'm doing now is just to fill up the area as though I would build a second floor. So obviously I can cover all this up, and I need a stairwell over here. Now obviously the stairwell doesn't have to be the whole complete area over here, so I can fill it up by putting it in another plate. And you can just imagine that. Now I could do a stairwell this big, or I could go even smaller, because if you want to do the minifig test, imagine if I get a minifig over here, the minifig may not need so much space in order to come up. Definitely I could put a plate over here like that maybe, and maybe I could even put one more plate over here. So let's assume I do that. Now I need a way to hold everything together, so just for now I'm just going to take some plates and I'm just going to hold this artificially together like that. So I'm just really doing an estimation here, and hopefully I think this would just be enough for the minifig to come true, at least logically, without knocking the head too much. I think that's fine. Yeah, so minifig could reasonably make their way up the stairs without killing themselves. So, and because I want to maximize space, so I'm making it a bit tight. And that's because this mock isn't really big, and I'm squeezing in a lot of detail for this space. Of course, I will need one more 1x6 over here like that, and I probably can fill in that gap. You can see that's the stairs, but there's a gap here, so I could also fill in a 1x6 over here, and that becomes my stairwell. So that's how you figure out your stairwell and how to build it. You basically build around it first. You can block off all the obvious parts where you will not need any access to, and then you take smaller plates and you kind of fit them in, and then you work out what the smaller space is, or that's at least in my case, or you work out what space you want to have for the stairwell. So I think that works out pretty well. So once you figure that out and you know the layout of this floor, you can now build the floor. And how do you build the floor? It's a standard technique. You are basically going to lay everything out, and then you have to plate the base. So in this case, this is what I have in terms of the layout for the floor. What I need to do is to take plates such as this, and I have to put it underneath. I think I'm going to use white for this particular build, and I'm going to build underneath and of course secure all the joints. Now bear in mind, if you flip this over to build, you have to do it in the mirror image. So always flip it this way and not left to right. So always front to back or back to front and not left to right, because if not, if you build it wrong way, eventually this hole is going to be on this side over here, the wrong way. So just bear that in mind when you build. So let's build up this floor first. And here we have the finished floor. So that's pretty simple. As you can see, you need to of course start with the perimeter, use 1 by something plates to plate it all around, and then generally for joints you need to use 2 by something plates to put everything together. But now you have a solid floor, and this is really the floor for the second floor, which would fit on to your top of the first floor. And you can see what I've done here. Everything lines up perfectly, so minifigs can actually come up, and the access is just right. So that's how you figure out the stairs and the stairwell, and how you build the second floor for your building when you build a modular building. And I'm going to stop here for this particular video, because that's really the scope of this video. In the next video, I will continue building the exterior wall and building up the second floor, and then eventually of course I will detail the interior as well. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was useful for you and gave you some clarity in how you can build a staircase that leads up to a second floor. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them in the discussion below. If you enjoy Lego building techniques like this and want ideas on how to build better MOCs, do check out my new weekly live stream that is starting this week during the midweek. It's called the Brick Design Breakdown, and I'm sure you enjoy it. So do check out the link in the card above or the description below to find out exactly what date and time it takes place in your time zone. And as always, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Check out these 2 videos before you go.